Okay, so I'm here on one of my quests. Kind of where I live near here, and what I'm going to do is I'm looking for fountains today, and I want to find the data in the fountains. So this should be kind of fun. First thing that we probably want to think about is, I'm looking at the fountain, but who is really looking at the fountain? Because that's going to determine the data. If you take a look, if it's you and me, then we may look at the fountain and get some ideas about how to interpret it with data. An electrician may look at this and think a whole new set of data, a different way of looking because that person is an electrician. Likewise, a plumber may be thinking of different things. And finally, there are pond fountain specialists who, when they look at this, are going to think of and see different things as well, different kinds of data. Okay, let's take a look at two kinds of data. There's visible and hidden. So visible is kind of what you see. What you see is what you get, in the photograph. Hidden is what you don't see. And basically data apply to both of those situations. A visible measure is basically looking at the diameter for when the water from the fountain hits the water in the pond, it makes a kind of a rough circle, right? And so what's the diameter of that circle, and what's the height of the water once it's pumped out vertically? What is that head or that height? For a count, the idea of a count, we can't really count the number of water droplets, so we're not going to sort of consider that in looking at data visibly. However, this might be the third fountain in the neighborhood, and so three is a type of data that could refer to the fountain because it's an index into that particular fountain. If you look hard enough, you can see parabolas. You can see parabolas basically shooting up or describing the trajectory. There are circles. That's the rough-like looking circle on the top of the pond. And if you dive in further in terms of geometry, you'll find conic sections, which all have their own data defining them. Some hidden data, number of gallons in this entire pond. What's a desired flow rate? What is the flow rate for the pump or pumps that are used here? This is usually gallons per hour or GPH. What is the power of the pump in terms of horsepower? What kind of electricity is being used? Is it 120 or is it 240 volts? What about the specs on the piping? What are the diameters of the pipes? How much in the way of piping and joints and valves are needed?